Donald Trump woke up this morning having a major temper tantrum and calling for the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, to be fired because Donald Trump is upset that Jerome Powell is telling the truth about the dismal economy that Donald Trump has created. And when experts come with facts, we know that Trump and MAGA attack facts, attack science, attack the truth. So here's what Donald Trump is posting this morning. He's going, the ECB, the European Central Bank, is expected to cut interest rates for the seventh time, and yet too late. Jerome Powell of the Fed is always, and he puts this in caps, too late and wrong yesterday, issued a report which was another and typical complete mess, exclamation point. Oil prices are down, groceries are down, even eggs are down, and the USA is getting rich on tariffs. Too late should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough, exclamation point. You know when he was lowering interest rates, Donald? When inflation was coming down, Donald? Under former President Biden, Donald? That's when Jerome Powell, who you now refer to like a petulant child, you call him too late. He can't lower the interest rates now. He will cause the market to be more volatile. I know you want to replace him with one of your other idiotic pawns who are going to cause further harm to the situation, but he's one of the last stopgaps from just the total and utter collapse of the market that you are creating as your other MAGA Republicans masquerade around the El Salvador extermination camps with their thumbs up like a worse and more morbid version of the Abu Ghraib photos. I mean, just take a look at what these MAGA Republican Congress members are doing. By the way, take a look at this chart right here. This is the Economist's polling of how people perceive Donald Trump's handling of the economy. As Carl Quintanilla says, what's the opposite of a honeymoon? As Donald Trump's approval continues to plummet and plummet and plummet even further. What about Doge? What's Doge up to, Donald? You know, it was never about actually cutting government waste, fraud, and abuse, was it, Donald? It was about stealing the data of the people. And once that was achieved, they don't give a crap about actually doing federal cuts, because if you cared about it, you wouldn't fire some of the people who were looking actually into the waste, fraud, and abuse. You would actually go through it methodically, and you wouldn't have Elon Musk just lie and make up things over and over again. But here you have Elon Musk's Doge saving promises versus reality. First, they said 2 trillion. Then they said 1 trillion. Then they said 150 billion. If you actually look at the 150 billion, what, like more than half of that's made up as well? Right now, federal spending is significantly higher. Federal salaries are significantly higher than under former President Biden. Yes, under former President Biden, federal spending was lower. So this entire hostile government takeover, firing all the VA people, filing the Social Security and IRS people, firing all the people who work for the forestry, firing all of these government workers who perform critical functions at the NIH, at the CDC. What was it for? It was to take over it, take the people's data, and then just pay their own cronies more money. That's what this was all about. And once they had our data, they then moved on. They moved on because that's what it was all about. Meanwhile, you have Lauren Boebert posting things like this today. These are the ads that they're running. This is how they're making money, Canada. The MAGA Republican Party's making money. I have a quick question for you. You see on the top right, it says ad. Should Canada be the 51st state in the Union? Vote now. One question poll. Do you want Canada to be the 51st state? Then you click on it and it brings you to donate to Boebert and to the MAGA Republicans. How sick are these people? You're not just talking about a trade war. When you post things like that, you are talking about annexing the country. You're talking about a real war. That's why the people in Canada are boycotting all things American. That's why America's economy is tanking. It's not just Canada boycotting the products, boycotting tourism in Europe, in Australia, and elsewhere. They're not traveling to the United States. As Marco Rubio and others and Trump said, it's a privilege to be on our soil and we can do with you what you want. Yeah, people don't want to be arbitrarily and without due process sent to extermination camps in El Salvador on the whims of an American version, a weirder version of Kim Jong-un. Yes, America, you really did it. You really did it, because with Donald Trump right now, take a look at what Derek Thompson posts. We took a growing U.S. manufacturing economy, declared it broken, started a trade war, and then broke U.S. manufacturing. In the last 48 hours, you have a Philly Fed survey come out showing that new orders fell sharply from, get this, 8.7 in March to negative 34.2, its lowest reading since April 2020 during the height of COVID. Then the New York Federal Survey came out, expect orders and shipments to plunge. Again, this was supposed to be a policy to revive U.S. manufacturing. U.S. manufacturing is in the tank. And as I've said before, economy tanking, confidence in just the ability of the United States to function tanking. And then they have the totalitarian, authoritarian people from the regime, which is basically all of them, go on their right-wing state regime media like this guy, Sebastian Gorka, one of the senior advisors, deputy assistant, one of the top people to Trump. He goes that if you're trying to help people like Abrego Garcia, he says, then we will view you as aiding and abetting terrorists. Anyone who advocates for due process, he says, for Garcia, we will try to federally charge you. This is one of the top officials in the government right now. Play this clip.
I realize that the taxonomy of politics in America is dead. It's not left and right. It's not even Republican or Democrat. There's one line that divides us. Do you love America or do you hate America? It's really quite that simple. And we have people who love America, like the president, like his cabinet, like the directors of his agencies, who want to protect Americans. And then there is the other side that is on the side of the cartel members, on the side of the illegal aliens, on the side of the terrorists. And you have to ask yourself, are they technically aiding and abetting them? Because aiding and abetting criminals and terrorists is a crime in federal statute, Rob.
Then you have the MAGA Republican Congress members like MAGA Republican Dan Mauser of Pennsylvania. He goes on the right-wing state regime media and he goes, well, maybe Abrego Garcia isn't a terrorist, but he could be one in the future. Here, play this clip.
And so he gets deported. He's here illegally. We have a United States senator and a bunch of knuckleheads in the House that now say their main priority is bringing back someone. Maybe he's not a terrorist, but he's a potential terrorist. He's a terrorist watch list person. They want to bring him back. You saw the El Salvadorian president. He laughed. He said, why in the hell would I bring back a potential terrorist back to the United States when his home country is El Salvador?
And so what's someone like Lisa Murkowski saying, a Republican senator from Alaska, who's pretty much enabled a lot of this because she's always been like, oh, what, she vote with Trump 70% of the time, 80% of the time, voted with Republicans 80% of the time. So she's at her town hall and she goes, I'm scared. I'm scared. You're scared? You're a senator. You're a senator who enabled this. You're scared? Play this clip.
What are you going to have to say to people who are afraid? Or who represent people who are afraid? We are all afraid. Okay. That's what I'm stating. But we are, we're in a time and a place where I don't know, I certainly have not been here before. And I'll tell you, I'm oftentimes very anxious myself about using my voice, because retaliation is real. that's not right. But that's what you've asked me to do. And so I'm going to use my voice to the best of my ability. And sometimes it will be viewed in a way that, well, that's pretty confrontational. And other times it's going to be using my mother's charm that I learned as a young girl, and in direct communication with those that I've made relationships with, and am able to affect some change that way. But I got to figure out how I can do my best to help the many who are so anxious and are so afraid.
I don't need those crocodile tears. I need fighters. I need people who are standing up in this moment as we see payrolls rapidly slowing down for small businesses in Q1, consistent with all signs of a recession, as Spencer Hakimian says, as mortgage rates are reaching new highs, as you've got the soybean farmer, head of their trade union who backed Trump, begging Trump to end the trade war. We need fighters right now. That's what we need. Not people who are saying, wah, wah, wah. You're a lawmaker. Do something about it. Keep you posted every step. Oh, can I show you this photo right here? This is Pam Bondi with trans Trump supporters, Caitlyn Jenner and Sophia Hutchin. Make this make sense. After Pam Bondi did a press conference attacking the transgender community yesterday, trying to pull the funds of Maine on that basis. You know why? Because it's all just a cruel dystopian game to them. And we're all non-consenting participants in their sicko reality show. That's one of the things that's going on here. It's all a cruel game. By the way, if you want to look at deportations, there were more deportations under former President Biden than under Donald Trump. And you may go, well, how is that possible? That doesn't seem like that. Because Biden did it efficiently. He did it humanely with due process regarding the criminals, with people with records of crimes. And it would happen. He wouldn't make a thing of it. It just happened and business was handled. But the MAGA Republicans want to see the torture and the cruelty. So what do? 75 to 85% of the people in El Salvador, no criminal record from their home country or here in the United States. So they take people without due process who don't have criminal records, torture them, treat them cruelly, and go, this is what we're doing. This is what we do. Cruelty's the point with these sickos. As they have their tantrums and their own pathological issues play out. Just handle your business and people are out of control. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.